Kate Weber is Communications and Development Assistant with the Maine Humanities Council. She came to Maine to go to Bates College and hasn't left. Is that when she came here tonight? She most recently worked with the Swans Island Historical Society through the Island Institute's Fellowship Program and published her historical writings a year ago in the book Swans Island Chronicles, Borrowed, Exaggerated, and Half-Forgotten Tales of Island Life. 2 years ago, she didn't know what a tweet was, but thought it sounded stupid. Please welcome Kate Weber.
So part of my job includes managing the Maine Humanities Council's social media sites. And I'm here today to talk about how I stopped feeling guilty about my job. I'm going to start out with an exercise. So pretend you're all sitting in an office at a desk. You got that? Okay, and this is your computer screen. So your boss walks behind you. You really want to close that window, don't you? I mean, how much of your day can you spend surfing the web, reading articles, looking at photos, sharing events, without feeling like you're really wasting your work day? So in seeking out my place in my job and in this new online world, I realized I was asking a pretty basic question. How are we interacting with the humanities in ways that we don't even realize? And how can we use social media to connect to things like art, history, philosophy, poetry? So part of my job includes this online quiz here. People love online quizzes, but what they don't necessarily realize is when they take this quiz and they share it, they're actually celebrating their love of literature, right? They're making it a part of their online identity that we all form when we're online. They're making a statement about who they are and what they care about. So I had to change my own mindset to see quiz taking as research. I applied it here and made a quiz for Maine Humanities. This promotes one of our programs kind of sneakily by matching up people with great books. And I took a risk and read the comment thread on this page a while ago. And one guy actually said he would read Middlemarch because of it. So whoever made this meme was also celebrating their love of humanities. And admittedly, it's not a very serious or deep or meaningful connection, but on the other hand, it's more than you normally get in 2 minutes of downtime between your meetings. So it's pretty common for us today to see the humanities and technology kind of in opposition. You know, like books versus computers, which do you like? You might cringe when you see these icons. But really, social media is just a tool, and if it's taking away from the humanities, it's because the humanities aren't using it effectively. But fortunately for us, so many organizations are. You don't have to look any farther than Maine's libraries. They've taken it upon themselves to train their patrons in new technology, which is really crucial. They're sharing amazing online resources, and they're here on social media being funny and engaged, and sharing great content, and they're more approachable than ever before. Humanities Nebraska had kind of a rock star moment online earlier this year. They posted this graphic of humanities resolutions in the new year, and it reached over 65,000 people. So each of those 65,000 people actually took a moment to think about the role of the humanities in their lives. And for some of them, this may have been the first time they'd ever had a reason to do that. Kansas Humanities Council sponsored this Twitter reenactment of Quantrill's 1863 raid. And the neat thing about this is the people who were following it online weren't your typical historical reenactment crowd. You know, they had Twitter accounts. that ended up winning a Schwartz Prize. So that brings me to the question of audience. This photo was taken at one of our Think and Drink programs. And the idea is when you reach out into new spaces and meet people where they actually are, you're going to have a broader impact. So we played around with our traditional humanities program format and ended up reaching a new audience with actual young people. The same thing can be accomplished online, where people are really getting into their own special things online. And, you know, if you can name it, there's a discussion forum about it, and who's to say that that sharing of ideas and thoughts and passions is any less valid than your typical book group? You know, people who used to think of themselves as outsiders, the bookworms, the introverts, have now found a comfortable space to interact with their people. You know, people here, if you look on social media, there are tons of people who are labeling themselves book nerds, and they're wearing that label with pride. Library Thing is a social cataloging web app that's based actually right here in Maine and has about 2 million users. You can go on there, keep track of books you've read, share book recommendations, interact with other readers and authors. It's actually pushing people to read more and to read in a more engaged and thorough way. So Chuck talked about building bridges locally. Here we have one of our event participants actually sharing their excitement with us. This photo wouldn't have warranted a phone call or an email to us, but we got to see it because she posted it as a tweet, which is pretty amazing to have that informal way of communicating with your audience. And so we started up a social media game this year based on our mascot, Hugh the Manatee. It's called Where Are the Humanities in Maine? People have to guess which library Hugh is in. So we had 45 Maine libraries sign up for this in 2 days. The libraries have a chance to show off their buildings and their programs, and we get to connect to our patrons who might not know our name and certainly wouldn't know our role in their library or their community. So for us at Maine Humanities, social media is really the difference between a logo and the smiling faces that you see here. I work with a bunch of people who are interested in things. And our audience is also a bunch of people who are interested in things, and it can be pretty easy to forget that there's that simple connection there, and to forget that you can have an even exchange of ideas back and forth. If you're worried about the state of the humanities today, just take a step back and remember how broad the humanities really are. So in our programming, text can include anything from art and music to films, television, even the occasional emoticon, because so many mediums can trigger our thoughts and emotions in really important ways. This is my cat. People love cute and trivial things, and it's just a matter of balancing that with meaningful content. And social media can actually be used to reinforce the love of books and learning and ideas that we already have. So that's why I consider Facebook